These people are insane. Oh my goodness. So I don't know about you, but for me, my favorite pastime is hearing the Lineage of Evil tell me how great they are, how they were Vikings and everything, how they invented the wheel, okay? How they created civilizations, all right? Colonializing the world, that we're better off here than we were in Africa, and how black people commit all the crime, and how we're low IQ, and how we're low impulse control, and that the white man has done everything, okay? They've created all the inventions. And then at the same time, they say this.
And you cannot tie imperialism and racism and slavery to just one race, which is pretty much what every single exhibit does.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
And I gotta be honest with you, I gotta hit him with the Scooby-Doo confused look. Like what are you talking about? Because what they wanna do is have their cake and eat it too. You gotta pick one, pimpin'. You gotta pick one, boo-boo. Because y'all can't talk about how y'all were colonizing the world, but not as far as talk about how you did that, right? Y'all can't talk about how you discovered America and how you brought the United States, but then want to look over how did that come to be? You can't take credit for, we freed the slaves, okay? Do you know who freed the slaves? We freed the slaves, Lucas. That's what we did here in the United States. The Emancipation Proclamation. You can't say stuff like that, but then neglect to mention, well, how did they become slaves to begin with?
Wake up, nigga.
These people are insane. They're insane. And the only thing they want to do is be victims. This is it. They constantly want to scream, it's just anti-white racism and this is what's going on and I don't know how to handle it. Bro, they always want to be victims. And I'm so sick and tired of the Lineage of Evil. The people who have done the worst, most barbaric things in history are now wanting to be victims, okay? And here's the thing. Nobody has ever said all white people, okay? But I find that interesting because as we give charitable responses to them, what do they say? All black people. They see one black person doing something wrong and they're like, all black people are bad. They judge us by our worst, as I've said before, and they expect us to judge them by their best, right? They don't talk about the slave owners. Who do they talk about? Abraham Lincoln, okay? They don't talk about the person who killed Abraham Lincoln. They talk about Abraham Lincoln. They talk about, George Washington, the first president, but they don't talk about his teeth coming from slaves. They love to whitewash history.
He's out of line, but he's right.
That's what they do. That's what they are doing. As I said in my previous video with Trump and the Smithsonian, that is what they are looking to do because they are a lineage of evil.
Damn.
And this is the most evil, diabolical thing that you can do is to completely pervert history to make the actual monsters the victims. Can you imagine us trying to make, as far as Hitler, a victim? Because that's what they're gonna be doing, bruh. They're gonna be doing that momentarily, rest assured. Well, I don't know. Given as far as relationship U.S. has with Israel and Netanyahu, I don't see that happening. But when it comes to black people, all gloves are off, bro. All gloves are off. They go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And when they get called out on this, because anytime you mention, well, when it comes to slavery, we're talking about the United States. Well, guess what they say? Exactly what this goofball, Jillian, I forgot her last name. I know she's a trainer. She's a bad trainer, and she's even a worse political freaking commentator, all right, or whatever she's doing here. They always go and say, well, do you know that only 2% of people had slaves?
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans owned slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
White people were
do you know
the slave
who
owners.
was the first race to try to end slavery?
What is it?
A completely made up bullcrap statistic. Do you know where they got that 2%? Because I'll tell you, they forget to tell you, anyone who mentions this bullcrap, statistic, they forget to tell you that they're including everyone. That's correct. They're including everyone in that statistic. Kind of like, what was it, why they made that deal with 3/5 of a man because they wanted to include the slaves to boost their voting numbers. That's exactly where they got this statistic. Can you imagine talking about, well, in totality and including the slaves in your number as to how many people own slaves. Do you understand how diabolical you have to be when they're including women, they're including children, they're including the northern states and the southern states? Now, how does that make any sense, bruh? How does that make any sense? But this is what these people do, and this is what they have continued to do. This is why when it comes to these studies, when it comes to these statistics, you got to take them with a grain of salt. And what I mean by a grain of salt, I mean the type of grain of salt that's in the Dead Sea Ocean, all right? That type of salt, because they are wicked and they're evil. And I say this on both sides. They will do anything and everything to push their agenda. Whatever their agenda is, it doesn't matter. They have no scruples, no morals, no principles. There is no depth to their degeneracy, bruh. And when people call this out, they claim victim. Well, it's not me, it's the Jews. She then goes on to talk about, which is the classic deflection of every white nationalist, every racist, which is then to try and justify slavery. Yes, that is correct. That's what they try and do. Well, do you know that slavery was all over the world? That was a common practice?
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
You realize that slavery is thousands of years old?
This is what they always do. This lineage of evil, bruh. It's like a playbook. It's almost like the Minority Report, bruh. You already know what they're gonna say before they say it, bruh. This is what they're so predictable. It's laughable at this point. They're so predictable with their talking points and their falsehoods and their bullcrap statistics and their mush studies and everything. And we was Vikings and everything. It's just laughable, and everyone is noticing this. That's the problem. And above all, I find it humorous that when we say, hey, we're not making it racial, we're just making an observation that the people who have committed the most heinous acts in this country, in the world, mind you, in the world, happen to look this type of way. Now, we're not saying all white people. We're just saying this specific group of white people. That's all we're saying. And here's what I don't understand. Why would you care what anyone says about Hitler? Why would you care about what anyone says about the slave owners? Why is your knee-jerk reaction is to defend them? Don't you find that a little bit weird? This is what I'm talking about when it comes to this hive mind mentality. When they want to talk about, well, black people, we're not a monolith. They use that to trick you. That's what you have to understand. Because you look at Jillian. You see her. She doesn't know anything about anything. She doesn't know anything about the data, but her knee-jerk reaction is to what? To defend white people. That's what her knee-jerk reaction. Even though we're talking about slave owners, her knee-jerk reaction is defend the slave owners, bruh. I want you to understand that. So when they say that, oh, black people are the monolith, they always use this in a facetious manner to undermine our power that we have as a fist, okay? That's what they don't want. So please don't fall for that trick bag, because that one is a trick bag, family. Okay, if you want to know what a trick bag is, because you see her passion and her fervor in just saying stuff like, well, slavery was everywhere. Well, only 2%. Well, it's not just white people bad. This is their mindset. This is the lineage of evil. And it is amazing to just see it in all of its glory so that people can understand what you're dealing with. When you talk about turn the other cheek, they're going to slap that cheek as well. Okay. When you talk about, well, when they go low, they go high. Well, they don't care. Okay. They want you to go high because of what it does. It allows them to validate their behavior. They will do anything and everything to you. And then when you react, that's when the problem arises. When you react, that's when 911 is called. When you react, that's when the police get called and be like, oh, look what he did. That's what they are. That is their MO. And that's why, they're the lineage of evil. We see it time and time again. Wake up. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know what what is the other perspective of this? Okay, well, Lucas, she didn't mean it that way. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of being charitable to you freaking, you racists, you demons out there, right? Because I say, well, maybe she didn't mean it that way. And 9 out of 10, they always mean it that way. When they say, well, it's just a joke, that's what they do when you get caught, right? It's just a joke. Why are you so sensitive? They have levels to their degeneracy. You call them out. Well, maybe you didn't mean it that way. Then you say, oh, you did mean it that way. Then it's just a joke. Then it's like, well, it's not really a funny joke. Then it's like, well, why are you so sensitive to words? It's just a word. Always, bro. They have an aversion, an extreme dislike, a phobia for accountability, bro. That's what it is with these people. Nevertheless, if you happen to disagree, you know where to find me. Thursday through Saturday, Disagreement Day. There'll be a number on screen. You're calling me, duke it out. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think, and subscribe. And all that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing.
Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?